Hello everyone, my name is Yamla Ariano and this is my project, my presentation for my English 112 class about my interview with Mr. Horsley, a teacher who works at Ashboro High School. Okay, a little things about Mr. Horsley is that he's been teaching for 6 years. He got into his profession because he has a long line of teachers in his family. And he decided to say, you know what, why can't I be a teacher? And he became a teacher. He says he loves the impact that he has on students. And he has told me about education and how to get to where he wants to be a teacher. He says that all teachers must have a undergrad degree, a four-year degree. He says, I asked him about a teaching license. He says that your first teaching license lasts for 3 years. After that, it's every 5 years that you have to renew it. With these 5 years, you have to take a continuing education units, which are CEU credits to renew your license. He says, I talked to him about do elementary, middle school, and high school teachers all take the same classes in order to get their degree? He says, well, it's a little different. He says they do take core classes. They all have to take their core classes, and with that, like K through 5 teachers, they teach, math, English, science, and probably more right now. I don't know right now, but he says they have to take more. Middle school teachers and high school teachers, they get more into depth with their content that they want to teach, the subject that they're more focused on. Like for instance, Mr. Horsley's class that he wanted to teach was history. So he, instead of learning more in math, he wanted to focus his education on English. He says after this, all teachers must pass the test on their subject that they want to teach, and of course they get more training if they want to teach other subjects as well. It was really great. See, preparations. He had told me that nothing can prepare you for this. He says the best thing to do is to become a student teacher. A student teacher is basically a person who wants to become a teacher but wants to get real life experience in the classroom. So they can volunteer, go in, get someone to help them, get that real experience. For him, he also had help with his family, because they have experience. His family has experience and told him that he would be great. See, there has been changes around everything from time, in classrooms and everything. For instance, we talked about administration and principals. Back in 2019, my last year at Ashboro High School before I graduated, I was there for 4 years. About every year we had a new principal, and to be exact, we had 6 different principals. We never had the same one. It's weird because every teacher had different set of rules and everything we had to follow. Phone policies, attendance policies. One principal would say, we can only miss 3 days out of the whole school semester, or the other principal said we can miss 4 days, and you have to catch on. If you don't, then there will be consequences for your actions, for not knowing. It's like if laws change, policies, it's like having your health insurance. Hey, heart disease is covered this year, but next year it won't be, but then next year you get heart disease and you're like, oh no, you're really mad about it. But really, it's, as a teacher, it's your life on the line, and as a student, it's your school record on the line and everything, and you need to have your reputation and everything. Yeah. Let's see. Also, I asked him how has this job changed his life. He says that teaching is not a fallback job, and you must do what you do and love it. People tend to treat people better when they announce that they're a teacher rather than a factory worker like me. If I say, hey, I work at a factory, and they're like, oh, okay, that's great. But if I say, hey, I'm a teacher, and they're like, oh my God, that's great, it's because there's education involved in there. It's the higher education you get, people treat you with more respect than someone who doesn't have more education, that has taken more education. So it's a really good self-esteem booster. What's it called? He also says that he loves talking and teaching the subject that he loves to teach most. Says, I also put in, I also asked him, how is it dealing with teens, kids, and stress? You know, we all know that teens and kids cannot be the best to get along with. But he says that there are days where you want to scream and days where you want to cry, but at the end, it's totally worth it. I told him about stress, and he says he tries to find a place where there's less distractions. For him, it's in the classroom. Because he's a teacher. He says he loves to be there. And honestly, I would rather, like me with studying, I'd rather be in a library than at home. There's so much distractions, and that can be taken away if I could have stayed, an extra hour or at work or something or a library and finish my work. And he also says never take bad mojo home. You say your home is also your safe place that you want to go relax to, and it'd be nice. Technology has changed. It has changed the whole world over the last few years too. Everything has changed in schools. He talked about note taking and projectors like smart boards. When I was in school, I would never take notes with pen and paper. I would just take out my phone, take a quick snap, and then I can review it at home or when I want. It's very easy. I don't have to flip through everything on my pages. I know where everything's at on my phone. He also says that there's information at our fingertips that we can just type in any little question that we want. Like we want to know someone's birthday, someone's a famous person's death day, anything. Like who's president, who is, just anything. With that, with phones and computers, memorization dates, so great. And it also talks about something about COVID-19. It's the pandemic that has recently affected all our lives, from face-to-face classes we could have been in. I'm really sad about that. But thanks to technology, we have internet, we can do online classes online. That's amazing because we can still continue our education. But versus the past where we didn't have that much technology, we wouldn't have been able to continue education. Like, it's crazy that if you really think about it, it's really crazy. And a lifetime of learning. Since you're a teacher, you have to learn about new things that are being updated in our systems of everything. He also told me a quote saying, the day you stop learning is the day you die. That I can agree with. If I would have never learned to eat, I would die. It's crazy. If you think about it, one thing leads to another and another. And it's all about learning. Teachers are tested every, like I said, back to the CEU credit points and the renewal of your license. I also had a question about workshops. I asked him about, I wanted to know exactly what they were and how they would have helped. They actually help teachers learn more ways to learn how to teach students, more ways that will get to us more better than, for instance, if I just taught it simple. It's really nice, creative ways. Really great. I also asked him what is his most rewarding part of his job. He says he loves seeing kids succeed and knowing that he had a small take of that student's success, that he has gotten them. There's stepping stools. He has helped them get up there. It's really great. He also loves thinking about his previous students that he has over the years and seeing how their life is right now. He was a great student. Or, maybe she wasn't, but what if she turned her life around? It's amazing. Or what are they doing? Are they fighting this, are they a nurse now? Are they fighting this pandemic now? It's amazing. He talks about a Lexington story that he has recently had, his Lexington story, which is about him. He was exiting outside a store where he was entering his car back again, but only to hear a big braking, someone squeak on their, hit their brakes and make a real big squeaking noise. And as he looks back to see what the commotion was, it was actually an old previous student of his that when he that still lives in Lexington, but he used to work in Lexington. And he said that it was really fun catching up on his student, and how he has, that he said that he spoke. They were there in the parking lot talking for hours, just catching up. It's like having a pay pal from what do they call? Oh my goodness, a person who you write to from across the world, saying, "Hey, how are you?" and they write back to you, and it's nice catching up. It's that feeling, and seeing how they are and how they're doing good and everything, and seeing if you can try to see if they're not doing, you can probably help them out or something like that. Give them good words of advice. He said it's the little things that make it worth it, and I do believe that it's the little things that count, and it's really great. With that said, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I hope you guys stay safe during this pandemic. Wash your hands.